A seed won't grow if the soil is not properly sufficient. Indeed, in order for a seed to grow, foundations should be present so a seed can flourish and thrive on its own. These foundations are what we all know as quality education. Ensuring inclusive and quality education and lifelong learning is a right for every individual. It prepares an individual to face challenges, improve life, and ensure sustainable and social economic growth in the future. Despite these benefits of quality education, many are still incapable of obtaining this right. Study shows that in 2015, 745.1 million adults are illiterate and 39% of the world's population have no foundation or formal education at all. In the Philippine context, in 2016, a great number of Filipino families lack access to quality education. 36.5% of Filipino families were deprived of the access to quality education. It made a huge impact where only 78% of the Philippine population complete basic education and the remaining 22% of the population were left behind. Especially as the COVID-19 pandemic rapidly attacks the globe, the majority of the countries announced the temporary closure of schools that majorly impacted more than 91% of students worldwide. Due to high levels of poverty, armed conflicts, and other issues, it is hard for some developing regions to make progress. An ongoing armed conflict in Western Asia and North Africa has also expanded in the number of children out of school. While all among developing regions, more progress in primary school enrollment was seen in sub-Saharan Africa, wherein from 52% in 1990 grew up to 78% in 2012. Children coming from the poorest households most probably be out of school 4 times more than those coming from the rich families. Inequality between the rural and urban areas still persists. Hence, gender inequality heightens.
I went to school. I went to school not because the Maasai's women or girls were going to school. It's because my mother was denied an education. And she constantly reminded me and my siblings that she never wanted us to live the life she was living. As I went back, I started talking to the men, to the village and mothers, and I said, I want to give back the way I had promised you that I would come back and help you. What do you need? As I speak to the women, they told me, you know what we need? We really need a school for girls because there had not been any school for girls. And the reason they wanted the school for girls is because when a girl is raped when she's walking to school, the mother is blamed for that. If she got pregnant before she got married, the mother is blamed for that. And she's punished. She's beaten. They said we wanted to put our girls in a safe place. As a new dawn is happening in my school, a new beginning is happening. Girls, as we speak right now, 125 girls will never be mutilated. 125 girls will not be married when they're 12 years old. 125 girls are creating and achieving their dreams. This is the thing that we're doing, giving them opportunities so that they can rise. As we speak right now, women are not being beaten because of the revolutions we've started in our community.
Aiming inclusive and quality education for everyone restates that education is one of the most important and proven tools for sustainable development. The foundation on reaching every goal in the 2030 Agenda is requiring quality education. This will help people to improve knowledge, skills, and values to further solve problems, build lives, and contribute to their communities. This goal makes sure that all girls and boys accomplish free primary and secondary schooling by 2030. Equal access to affordable vocational training to stop gender and wealth inequality and accomplish universal access to quality higher education is also a part of its goal. Moreover, these problems can be eradicated to relatively achieve educational goal through the guidance of Education 2030 Framework Action.
Guided by the Education 2030 Framework for Action, which sets out a clear game plan for countries and key partners, the SDG Education 2030 Steering Committee plays a critical role as a central driving force to keep everyone moving in the right direction. Convened by UNESCO, the Steering Committee is a democratic, multi-stakeholder partnership made up of mostly member states representing all regions, as well as the United Nations agencies, international and regional organizations, representatives of civil society, the private sector, foundations, and youth. Drawing on the strength of this diverse partnership, the Steering Committee works to provide strategic guidance to member states and the education community at large, and advise on critical action to bring about change, all the while advocating for the resources needed to support transformation. The Steering Committee also takes the reins for accountability, monitoring progress towards Education 2030 targets through UNESCO's Institute for Statistics and the Global Education Monitoring Report. Within the greater UN SDG picture, the Steering Committee engages at regional, national, and global levels to ensure that everyone working towards education targets is pulling in the same direction, with two-way communication on all fronts to keep strategies aligned and efforts in sync. The Steering Committee also partners with global bodies linked to the SDG framework. Through its far-reaching global network and focused sense of agency, the Steering Committee is a force for scaling up innovation, resources, and action, expanding the power of partnership and collaboration across all sectors of society and the global development community.
The Incheon Declaration promotes the importance of education as a tool to achieve sustainable development. The framework consists of 3 sections. Section 1 describes the vision, rationale, and principles of Education 2030. Section 2 highlights the global educational goal and its 7 targets in 3 ways of implementation and key strategies. Section 3 presents a structure for achieving global education efforts. Hence, governance, monitoring, and review mechanisms are also highlighted in this section. This framework ensures quality and inclusive education for all. There has been a huge progress in attaining the goal of universal primary education since 2002.
Since 2000, all of us, national governments, civil society, the private sector, UN agencies, and most importantly, parents, have worked to put more children into classrooms, and we've made great progress toward the Millennium Development Goal of achieving universal primary education.
In 2015, the whole enrollment rate in developing regions reached 91%, and the number of children who are out of school globally has dropped by almost half. It was also a remarkable success that more girls are in school than ever before. These challenges will be solved if governments, private sectors, and individuals join hand in hand together.
The good news is that we know much more about what works today than we did 15 years ago. We are committed to helping countries translate data and evidence into action. Technology can be used to leapfrog current practices, plugging isolated teachers and students into connected classrooms for the 21st century. Teachers, of course, still have the central role to play.
It is never too late to amplify kids and the youth to be in school and to experience quality education. Through these frameworks, collective action, collaborative work between sectors and communities, and building strong foundations, we can ensure quality and inclusive education for everyone where students are not left behind. Relatively, the seeds will flourish and thrive on their own.